right, so hi, how you doing today?
I'm well.
All right. How did our paths cross today? How did you and I just meet right now?
I just was sitting here on the grass,
Okay.
and you approached me and asked me if I'd like to do an interview with you about mental health and feet.
And everybody always forgets the last one sometimes. Reflexology.
Reflexology.
Absolutely.
What is that
Absolutely.
all about?
We're gonna go into that. All right.
Okay.
So when you heard feet, right? Because you kind of asked me a couple times, feet. Why feet? What were the thoughts that went through your mind when you heard feet?
Like talking about massaging feet, or is it?
I'm pretty sure at some point, like the interview does deal with that at some point, but like I want to know what you thought. That's what you thought about, like massaging feet.
The first thought that went to mind when you asked me about it was like, I instantly thought about like massaging men's feet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. All right. Well, we're not gonna be talking about that today, but
Or meant like,
yeah.
because when I think about feet, like you're talking about your foot.
The foot, yeah.
Yeah, I think about massages, I guess.
Okay. Cool.
Or feet, or I mean, I guess if they smell or not. I don't know. Are they sticky? Are they clean?
All right, we're gonna get there. So we're gonna ask some questions to you. Now, I'd like to get your feedback when we get there. Okay. Now, what about mental health? Well, like, is there anything you're invested in? Maybe like that you like really feel passionate about when it comes to mental health?
I definitely believe that there's a lot of mental illness going on around a lot lately, and I've been doing my part to kind of nurture my own, and I think it's really important. I go to counseling and therapists and all of that stuff. So, yeah.
You think it's important?
It's important.
All right.
It's important.
So we're gonna talk a little bit about like social media, the impacts it can have on like depression, anxiety, things like that. So I'm gonna talk about it a little bit and like get your thoughts about it. Okay. What about reflexology? You said not really familiar with it.
I did athletics in college and did track and field.
Okay.
So I kind of know a little bit about.
You know a little bit about kinesiology, I would
Yeah.
imagine. All right. So reflexology is kind of related to that. We're going to talk a little bit about it, and then you can tell me how you feel about it, okay?
Okay.
All right. So let's get started with the first question, okay? What are your thoughts about how the world's starting to become more aware of like mental health and what we're doing about it?
I think it's only necessary, and it's great that there's more light being shed on it. And yeah, I definitely think it's more relevant in our communities, but I can't really say that because I don't know the whole statistics, and I don't know everyone and what goes on in people's day-to-day lives, but I do understand how deeply rooted it is within our culture as African Americans.
It's a necessity we definitely need.
Yeah.
In terms of social media, like what are your thoughts about social media, and then how do you use social media?
How I use it to communicate with close friends and close family. I try not to dive into it too much, because unless I'm using it for business and a platform for that way, or to share, shed light on some good news, or I'm not using it as a tool to help better myself or my community, then I just think it's like a rabbit hole, you know. You dive into other people's lives, and that's a waste of time. You should spend more time like investing in yourself and
focusing on you. Absolutely.
So you can share
your journey and maybe like be helpful to somebody else, right?
Yeah.
Okay. In terms of social media, right? If there was one thing you could change about it, right? Somebody gave you the power to change whatever you wanted, what would you change?
That's a good question. Never really thought about it.
Yeah.
It's hard. It's difficult. I've never really liked to be. I've never liked to put myself on display. Sometimes that's how I feel, but it's a double-edged sword.
Yep.
You know.
I heard somebody just say that earlier too, right?
Yeah.
And you know what she said was, and I thought this was like really like enlightenment. She said that she feels like it's more about the people, not necessarily about like, it's like Instagram or whatever it is, TikTok, those are all tools, right? But it's about the people who are using it and the way you use it. So like if you tend to use it in a negative way, then of course like it's going to be negative, but you find a way to use it positively, like so how some people use it to like maybe market themselves or like to shed light on things that need to be shed light on. So it all depends, right?
And and with everything that's going on in the mainstream news and everything, it's kind of nice to have another platform and get your take on everything, you know, and find out what really resonates with you, because I feel like when truth speaks to you, like you hear it and you know it. So, you know, it's, you know, and there's a lot of fake news out there right now.
For real. Yeah.
You know, so sometimes it's nice to have different avenues of way to like find out information.
Got it. What are some things that bring you anxiety? You don't have to go like too in depth, but just like maybe more surface level. What are some things?
I think crowds of people.
Me too.
Yeah.
I'm okay like if it's like maybe I'd say maybe 20 to 25 is my max. I feel like when it starts going up above that, like I start to feel like a little bit of anxiety. And it's because I had something happen to me when I was like about 16. Like I ended up getting shot, and like being in a situation where it's like you don't know where it came from or anything like that. It's like a drive-by, and not knowing like, okay, why did this happen? Where did it happen? Who's the person? I'm always like freaked out now, like when I go in big crowds, because I'm like, something like that could happen, and I wouldn't know what's happening right now. So
I was gonna ask you the angle of this like camera. Is it like?
Yeah, it's like up here.
Yeah, it's like, it seems like it's like on my stomach area.
Oh no! It's good. It's kind of got like your part of your legs in it, and it's just like up here as a whole. Yeah.
Okay. Just checking.
It's all good.
Yeah.
So that's how I feel too. Absolutely. All right, so let's get into these questions, right? How do you feel about your feet? What are your thoughts?
I like my feet.
Okay. So you like them? No dislikes, no indifference. You like them?
I like my feet. Yeah.
Have you ever received compliments before on your feet?
I have.
Men, women?
Both? A man. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
When you got a compliment about that, how did it make you feel?
I was like,
no.
Like,
All right, so
it's hard to take compliments.
Okay, so in compliments in general, do you feel like that, or is it maybe more a compliment about something like that?
For me, in general, it's hard to take compliments, but I'm learning.
Okay, cool. So let's say it was a rare occasion, like you're walking down the street, you're wearing sandals, somebody complimented you on your feet, right? It's a stranger. How are you feeling about that?
I'd be like, I think my first thought would be like, thank you. Like, but that's interesting that like out of everything you saw, like, were you really looking at my feet, or were you trying to talk to me, or?
Yeah. So here's what I would ask, right? Because like you said, compliments in general, like you feel like you don't really take them that well, right? Would it be different if somebody like was like, your hair looks nice, like your eyes look nice, or you thought you had a nice smile? That would be different.
Yes.
Why?
I guess
because they're still pointing out something about you, right? They're like still saying like, I saw this and this is something that I liked.
It's just, I guess, if, like I was saying earlier, when I listen to someone, I hear it, and if it resonates with me, then I accept it. If the verbiage between that person seems genuine, you know, like yeah, like your feet are so pretty and so cute. Like maybe I just got my toes done or something.
Okay.
If I felt like it was really genuine, like they were really like saying like, oh, your feet are nice, I would just be like, thank you.
So is it more about context?
Yeah.
Like how a person is saying it?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, I can feel that.
Because you always, I don't know why I always want to, when people say something sometimes, I'm always wondering what's behind
what's the intention?
that.
Like, what's your motive? Like, why are you saying it? I can feel that. In terms of like things you do like to be complimented about, what is some things that you're like, I'm okay with that compliment?
I mean, it's always nice when someone tells you that, oh, your beautiful.
Okay.
And like, I'm like, oh, okay, thank you.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it's a boost
Yeah.
to the confidence. It lets you know, like, okay, I'm doing something right, you know, and
Yeah.
things like that. Validation, really, right?
Validation is nice.
Absolutely. And sometimes we don't know. A lot of times when I'm doing these interviews, some of the questions I had before, women would always say, like, the context, right, is important, right? And I wanted to, like, really put awareness to men about complimenting women, right? Because sometimes, like, you guys may be going through something, like, throughout the day, right? You might had a long day, something happened, but just a simple compliment, it doesn't have to go anywhere. It doesn't have to be, hey, you look pretty, hey, can I get your number, right? It could just be, hey, you know, you're looking really, really nice today. You keep on going about your way. Would you agree that would be something that would, like, really be like, man, that was really nice? Like, somebody said that to you? Absolutely. All right.
And so, do you find that men don't get that enough?
I find that, like, a lot of men, because here's what I think, right? I feel like I've experienced, especially from women who have told me this, that men sometimes will give a compliment, but there's an ulterior motive there, right?
Yeah.
They're only doing it because, like, they want to talk to them, they want something from it, right? And then when they get shut down, they have something negative to say, right?
Yeah.
In return. And I always felt like you should just be able to compliment, and, like, it doesn't have to go anywhere. Like, hey, you know what? You're looking really nice today, and just go on about your business.
Those platonic conversations are rare.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
really special and unique when they do happen.
Yeah.
But but I have in the past, like,
Experienced
had that.
that.
Yeah, I've experienced
Absolutely.
that. Yeah.
Absolutely. How often? Well, no. First, before we get there, what are some things that you would consider to be a potential deal breaker, like somebody dating or something?
Deal breaker.
Yeah.
Someone who just really overly jealous.
Okay.
Yeah. Overly jealous. And not, like, just can't see, like, what's right in front of them. You know, like, I'm here.
Yeah.
Am I a ghost? Like, we've been spending so much time together.
Yeah.
And you still don't know how much I'm into you. That sucks.
All right.
Yeah.
Got it. All right, so let's get into this now. How often do you get pedicures?
Ooh. I give myself pedicures a lot.
Oh, so you do self-care. Okay.
Yeah.
So you don't really go to the nail salon?
Once in a while.
Okay.
You know.
But not as often. You prefer to do it yourself.
Yeah, I'd like to save some money.
Okay, makes sense. I feel that.
I'm pretty good. I'm decent.
Huh?
I'm decent.
Yeah.
I can get it done.
He's like, I know what I'm doing.
I can get the job done.
Absolutely. Do you have any favorite colors? Like, go-to colors?
Green.
Green?
Yeah.
Really? Nice. Are we talking about, like, a light green, dark green?
I just I love being in environments where there's lots of trees. And it's really lush and it's aesthetically, like, pleasing.
Absolutely.
And it makes me feel calm.
St. Patrick's Day's coming up, so you might be going to get that green pedicure. Like, maybe? Maybe. Have you ever heard of a medical pedicure before?
No, but it makes sense.
Yeah, so it's when you go see a podiatrist, it's a specialist of the foot.
Yeah.
They'll take a look at your feet to look at your nails to make sure they're growing correctly, your toe alignment's, like, aligned. They check for dead skin, fungus, and do all the work there with medical grade equipment.
Right.
What are your thoughts about, like, somebody like that, going to see somebody like that?
I guess they probably, maybe it has to do with, like, fungus or something like that, or, and, like you said, like, I know some people that get really, like, ingrown toenails and stuff like that, and they get infected. So, they're just, like, yeah, it's beyond their control.
Yeah, so they need to go to somebody who's a specialist.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. In terms of wearing open-toe shoes, how often do you do it?
Oh, all the time in the summer.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Do you have a specific type of shoe that you like to wear, that you prefer over everything else?
I love little cat heels.
Okay. Nice.
And
All right.
you can just, like, slide your feet in them.
Okay.
There's little heels like that. And just, like, slide and go.
Okay, you like
love
those.
Yeah.
All right. Do you own some pairs of those, I would imagine, right?
I do have a few pairs.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah, they're fun. It's sexy and, like, easy. You don't have to
Simple.
spend time tying up shoes or anything
I love
like
it.
that.
All right. How often do you go barefoot? No shoes?
I was doing it a lot before the pandemic. I started running barefoot, like, on the sand and, like, through the grass, stuff like that. And it really made me feel more
Nice. You know about everything kind of love it.
Yeah.
All right.
And I loved it, and then I kind of just stopped doing it.
Okay. Maybe need to go back to that, man. You know, really like kind of like open yourself up to like, you know, being a little bit more free.
And I would do that. And I use this tea tree soap.
Okay.
This is like antifungal.
Yeah.
And a lot of times the callus on the bottom of our feet, it's not actually just callus. It might be like built up
Bacteria and fungus and stuff like that. Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
So I would use that soap too when I would go for my walk barefoot.
Okay.
Go for runs barefoot. It did make me feel a little bit insecure, like, oh my god, the cops are gonna pick me up because they're gonna think like this lady's on drugs.
She's out here
like,
running barefoot.
Running barefoot.
She just like, you know, went and robbed somebody. No. All right. So now, can we take your feet up on the clothes?
Okay.
All right. Can I get you to just remove your shoes first and then leave your socks on? All right. Go.
Okay.
All right.
Can I ask you why?
Why?
Yeah.
I'm gonna get to that. Now you
I
can tell me.
can't know.
Do you not feel comfortable, or what's going on?
Well, I just want to know what it's for.
Okay.
Like,
So I was gonna get into the mental health. I'll get to that first, and then you can decide if you want to continue. So during quarantine, I was watching another guy's channel, right?
Yeah.
He was talking about DBT. Are you familiar with that? Dialectical behavior therapy.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's for people who like suffer from anxiety, depression, people who fail to live in the moment, right?
Right.
Like they're presented with a situation and they overthink the situation, like thinking about things that happened in the past, things that could happen in the future, right? So DBT deals with like mindfulness, like right, just focusing on the moment that you're in, right? So in the past, I've been somebody who's like presented with a situation, and I'm like thinking about all these different things, like oh this, that, and I overthink the situation until I think myself out of the situation, right? So I heard about this and I was just like, man, it's intriguing, right? So I wanted to go out and like do conversations with women, especially talking about feet, because feet's something that like a lot of people see as like weird, and it's like they got negative connotations attached to it, things like that, right? I want to normalize the conversation around it. So through my interactions with women, like talking to them about these different subjects, seeing if they can still feel comfortable while we're going through the interview, to like just live in the moment, like not worry about anything, right? So yeah,
like
it's just
feet,
feet, right?
whatever.
So that's what the whole like concept is about. So I'm trying to marry that together with, like I said, that reflexology, because a lot of people don't even know what reflexology is. So it's such a helpful thing. So what are your thoughts about that?
I don't know, can you educate me? Like tell me. Like,
Oh, not reflexology. I'm talking about what are your thoughts about what I'm talking about with the mental health and the feet part.
mental health. I definitely think these conversations are important. Just to help people evolve and like get a different perspective. And
not only that, but a lot of times I find that like, say if somebody's into feet, right? They like feet, right? They can't express that to people because like they can be judged by it. People like shame them for like, oh, like that's weird. Why do you like that, right? But if somebody said that they were into like, if a guy says he likes breasts, right? He likes women's like, you know, behinds, right? People don't say anything bad about it because they're like, oh, that's pretty normal because you hear it a lot, right?
Yeah.
So what's the difference though, right? It's still a part of the body. It's still something, right?
That's
so I
true.
don't feel like one should be looked at over the other. So I'm trying to normalize that conversation so that if a guy wanted to express that to somebody he likes, he can do it without feeling judged.
Okay.
Sound good? All right.
I respect it. I mean, like, I'm pretty open-minded and I allow people to be where they are,
Okay.
you know,
Nice.
without judgment.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me get you to kind of turn a little bit more this way, like kind of like square with me, like right here.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Oh no, like take your feet and like turn like to where you're right in this way.
I just don't feel like I feel uncomfortable because I just feel like it's like right on my
No,
vagina.
It's not. I promise you, it's like this. It's like a whole like right here. It's got you all the way in the frame.
Can you turn around so I can see?
Yeah.
I know it's a little. I never used to be paranoid like that, but then I never.
All right.
know.
So can you put your feet out and then we let's take a look at it? Is that okay? All right. What size do you wear?
8.5.
8.5? Does
Yeah.
it vary depending on the type of shoe you wear, like a tennis shoe to a sandal or like a heel?
It might
same.
Typically the same.
All right.
But if it's a work heel, I might want a little more space.
Yeah, absolutely. You want to be able to move around a little bit. Okay.
Yeah.
Let me get you extend your feet out and put them straight like this. Yeah. All right. Cool. All right, and then you can remove your socks now.
Okay.
All right.
Do you have a fetish about feet?
No, so I'm going to get to that. I'm going to tell you a little bit about it. You can go ahead and remove your socks.
Okay.
All right. We got white toenail polish. All right. Interesting. Can you put them down flat so we can see the tops of it? All right. All right, and you got a good toe alignment. Looks like your feet are like your toes are all straight.
What makes a good toe alignment? Like beauty's like in the eye of the beholder,
so
right?
in terms of what I'm saying, right? Like none of your feet are like kind of like going one direction or the other. They're kind of like pretty much straight for the most part.
Yeah.
And do you know about the different toe alignments that they have?
I don't.
All right. So what you have right now is the Grecian. Your second toes are like slightly bigger than your big toe, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So you have the Grecian toe alignment. If it was the other way around, if your big toe is bigger, it would be the Egyptian toe alignment. So that's what you got. You know anything about that? No. Nope. There it is. Let me get you extend your feet back out so we can see the bottoms. All right. So how are you feeling? We're going through this. We asked you some questions. We're like taking a look at your feet. What are the thoughts going through your mind right now? I want to know how you're feeling about this.
I'm glad that I decided to come out here and like sit by myself because I think it's hard. It's more difficult to meet people randomly like this when you are
surrounded by a bunch of people.
Like a bunch of people.
Things like that.
Yeah. So maybe if I was here with another friend.
No, I just interviewed two women a few minutes ago. Yeah.
Oh.
I approach like if you're out, hey, you know, you're interested, and if you say no, keep it pushing. Like, so yeah.
But
all right. So
I never heard about like the Egyptian toe line, so that's interesting.
Let's talk about reflexology because I think this would be even more interesting for you, right? So reflexology deals with the different pressure points you actually have, right, in your hands and your feet, right? Those pressure points like correlate to different parts of your body. So let's say like through massage, through acupuncture, through acupressure, you can actually alleviate like stress and tension to various parts of your body, right? So let's say, for example, you're somebody who deals with migraines, right? There's a portion of your foot that you can massage and apply pressure to that'll alleviate that tension that you're feeling in those moments, right? These areas are all called zones, and like depending on, like I said, the amount of pressure you apply to it, like massaging that area, it can definitely like release tension from your body. What are your thoughts about that, like from a holistic standpoint?
Yeah, I totally believe in that, and I think it's should be. Yeah, I think it's great.
Okay, cool. So I mean, does it make sense now? Because you have you ever heard of it before, or is this new for you?
It's pretty new. I mean, I have heard of acupuncture.
Heard about it, yeah.
So yeah.
Now you know it's a part of reflexology then.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. So with that being said, how ticklish do you tend to be?
A lot.
All right.
I mean, kind of. I mean, I haven't been tickled in a while.
When you go get pedicures, how ticklish are you? Like, right?
Nah.
Not at all. Okay. All right. Now I have a trick for you that could be helpful. You mind if we test it on camera? Is that okay?
Trick to be ticklish?
Yeah. To be less ticklish.
Oh,
You don't have to.
I think I used to get held down when I was a little a kid and like get tickled by my cousins and aunts and stuff like that. But it's been really rare that I got tickled.
Okay. All right.
So I never really thought about it or worried about it or don't really stress about it.
Okay. Let me get you to do a couple exercises with your feet though. This is to test like dexterity and like flexibility. All right. So let me get you to put your feet close together, like side by side. All right. And then here's what I want you to do first, right? Can you bend your toes over, make a fist? Tell me if you feel pain or discomfort while you're doing it. Just bend over like this. Pain or discomfort? Is it easy to do? Is it hard to do?
It's easy.
Easy? Okay, relax. Okay, next, spread your toes. Tell me if you feel pain or discomfort while you're doing it. You have a good spread there. Do you do yoga or anything?
I used to.
Okay. All right, relax. Just wiggle your toes for about 10 seconds. Tell me if it cramps up, if you feel any pain or discomfort while you're doing it. Easy to do?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Relax. Okay, so let's wrap up the interview now. Okay. In terms of my approach, coming up to you, asking you to do the interview, was it good or was it bad? Is there anything I could work on? What were your thoughts about my approach?
It was good. Really respectful. And
okay, nice. In terms of the interview, from start to finish, did you see how everything was going in the line? Did it make sense to you? Did you learn anything?
It did make sense to me, and I think that I really like that you did talk about feet because it's different, and I think it's cool that we can
different things, man. Yeah, absolutely.
I like that.
Okay. Last thing I'll ask, from a mental health standpoint, maybe a life lesson you learned, some wise words somebody once said to you that you can say to my channel that could be helpful.
One of my favorite sayings. Can I say two?
Yeah, you can say whatever you want. Yeah.
What is it? The teacher will appear when the student is ready to hear.
Whoa. Okay.
And run fast towards God. And if someone keeps up with you, introduce yourself.
Those are deep, man.
I love those two.
Those are deep. All right. Well, thank you so much. Definitely appreciate you doing the interview, and we hope that you have a great one. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. So, hi. How you doing today?
I'm all right.
All right. How did we just meet right now? How did we?
Walking through the park.
Absolutely.
And you stopped me.
Absolutely. What did I stop you about?
You wanted to do an interview with me.
Okay. What's the interview about?
About feet, reflexology, and mental health.
Okay. In terms of, you heard feet, what went through your mind? Like, what did you think about?
Just taking care of our feet.
Okay.
Well, now I didn't have this thought back then.
Okay.
But from what I do, from walking a lot, taking care of my feet is something that's very important.
Absolutely.
They are sore a lot. Yeah.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. So, we're gonna ask some questions in regards to the subject of feet and just see how you feel. I'd like to get your thoughts once we get there. Okay.
All right.
What about mental health? Any topics that maybe you research or maybe you're invested in? Anything like that?
Anxiety, depression, or just have like a hard time sleeping, or ruminating your past and things like that. That's what comes up to me. Yeah.
Today we're going to talk about social media and the impacts it can have on depression and anxiety. So love to see how you feel once we get there. Okay. Lastly, reflexology. You ever heard of it?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. So I'm gonna get your thoughts once we get there. Okay.
All right.
Cool. First question. What are your thoughts about how the world is starting to become more aware of mental health and then what we're doing about it?
I love it. I think it makes it more comfortable for people to talk about it, and it helps other people be more aware of it if they try to ignore it. It's not something to be ashamed about.
Yeah, that's not at all. And I think that we found a lot that, I don't know what your situation is in terms of how your family is too, but I know coming from a black family myself, that's usually something that we don't really talk about, it's in the past, right? But it's now that we're starting to talk about it, more people are more comfortable with it. You find the same thing? I think
the same for our age range.
Yeah.
I don't think that for older people.
Yeah.
Too much. I had an issue. Well, I didn't have an issue, but Simone Biles mentioned that she had depression and she had stopped the Olympics because of it.
Yeah.
I was watching it with my grandma, and she brought up the fact that she believes that people are depressed when they're not close to God, and I don't think that's always the case.
Yeah, that's not always the case. I think that you're absolutely right about that. I think that there are times when we just deal with stuff, and when you're regulating emotions and different things that you experience, we all experience it differently. The way one person might experience it is totally different than how somebody else might. So that's absolutely correct. In terms of social media, right? What are your thoughts about it, and then how do you use social media yourself?
I'm not on a lot.
Okay.
But sometimes I want to get on more, but I do see myself comparing myself to things that I want to get into.
Yeah.
So I want to get more into the fitness realm, and I follow people who are like that.
Okay.
But the more that I see it and see their progress, I'm discouraged because I'm I don't know if I'm gonna get to that height, or if I want to get to that height.
Yeah. You're do I want to invest that much time?
Yeah.
In it? I don't know.
Yeah, and I don't want to get so entangled with the whole likes, comments, and the ratings and all that.
It's really big. And so next question, kind of following that one up, if there was one thing you could change about social media, right? Somebody gave you the power to change whatever you wanted. What would you change?
Maybe put a time limit to it.
Time limit? Oh, yeah. Okay. So you can only be for this amount of time. And then that's the first time I've heard that. And I've heard people even talk about how they feel sometimes we waste too much time. You kind of scrolling and you don't even realize 2 hours have went by. That's a good one. I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
I tried that on my own phone. I think Instagram allows you to put a setting.
Really?
Yeah, it does. So I've set it for an hour.
I bet there's a lot of people that don't even.
Yeah.
That is a good one. Absolutely. In terms of things that bring you anxiety, right? You don't have to go too in depth. Maybe more surface level. What are some things that kind of do that for you?
Career change.
Career change, yeah. Mm-hmm. I think that's for a lot. I just talked to a lady earlier, and she was saying that she decided to quit her job. She was like, I've had a job since I was 14, and literally just up and like decided to quit. And she was like, I was so afraid of like what was gonna happen, like the next step and all that.
Right.
But sometimes we need to do that, like to down focus, right? So that we kind of like, sometimes our minds can get cluttered and you know, you don't have as much energy, so you need to like recharge the batteries and all that stuff. So
and seeking more of something that I love to do rather than thinking just to get the money.
Yeah, money's not everything, for sure. So let's start with these questions. I'm intrigued to see how you feel about these. What are your thoughts about your feet? How do you feel?
My feet.
You like them? You don't like them? There's an indifference there. You don't really care.
Kinda.
Okay.
Well, no, I won't say that entirely. I think they're very like thin. I guess. Like long. Yeah.
Okay.
Right. But I'm not like afraid to like show them.
Are you like that. 5'6", 5'7"?
I'm 5'6".
Okay. So I would imagine that you seem to be kind of slender yourself. So I would imagine that matches up to that.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure. I don't,
yeah.
Have you ever received any compliments about your feet before? Anybody ever told you
I have.
that? Okay. We talking men, women?
It was a man.
Man. How did it make you feel when you got that compliment?
I was just like, okay.
Okay. All right.
Thanks, I guess.
So now, in terms of that, because like, did it make you feel weird? Did it make you feel uncomfortable? Did it make you like?
I just laughed.
Okay. All right.
But it was no big deal.
It wasn't no big deal. Okay. In terms of a compliment, let's say that same compliment came from somebody you know, because I don't know if it did come from somebody you knew.
Yeah, it did.
It did? If it came from a stranger, would it be different?
I'm like, aw, thanks.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but like, why? I was like, why? Well, this was a long time ago that happened. But yeah, I would just like ask why.
Okay.
What's the big deal about feet?
So let me ask you this. If somebody complimented you on something different, like your hair, your eyes, or your smile, that feel different?
I get that. People love my hair and my smile, so I do get that often.
So that makes you feel different when they compliment you on that? Like, is it a different feeling?
I still like it. I mean, I don't get complimented on my feet a lot, so I can't really compare that.
Yeah, it's because it's uncommon, so it's not something that happens that often. So you're like, how do I feel about it? You're not sure how to feel about it.
Right.
All right. In terms of compliments that you do receive, like if you're gonna get a compliment from somebody, what would you prefer for it to be?
The way that like my personality rather than my looks.
I find that a lot. Those are some of the answers I get. Like, there's been a couple women that are like, I can't even lie. So they'll be like, I can't lie. I'm super vain, so I want to be told that I'm beautiful.
I mean, I like that, but it's like very surface level.
Yeah, absolutely. So like more of the intangible side is what you want to hear about. Okay, cool. In terms of like, let's say you're dating someone or you're going to start dating someone, what is something that you consider to be a potential like deal breaker? Like, I can't do that. That's not something.
It's not really a personality trait. It's more like if they don't have a relationship with God, it's like a no for me.
Got it. So because you want your like basically your beliefs and stuff to align.
Yeah.
Right? Absolutely. Because you can't walk together with someone, right? If they don't. Like, yeah, absolutely. Definitely get you. How often do you get pedicures?
I don't.
Have you ever had a pedicure?
Maybe once.
Maybe like was it like a special occasion? Like you were in a wedding?
I have no idea. It was that long ago that I don't remember.
Really?
Yeah.
So you keep them natural then? All right. Do you like do your own self care or? Okay. Have you ever heard of a medical pedicure?
Not. I mean, if they're like nail issues or something.
I was just like you can go and actually get those done like from somebody who's like a medical professional.
No.
So yeah, it's like going to see a podiatrist basically. So I mean, you don't have to have any issues. I think a lot of people find that like, oh, I have to have something wrong to go see this person, but like they take a look at your nails to make sure they grow correctly, your toe alignment is correct. They check for like dead skin, fungus, and they do all the work there with like medical equipment. What would your thoughts be on seeing something like that? Because I know you don't like to
I mean, it would be cool, interesting to try, but not like, oh, I need to do it.
So you would try, like, if you had the opportunity to.
Sure.
Try it. Okay. How you were open to
Not a lot.
Things like that. Okay. Is it more comfort style?
If it's like, if I'm going to like the beach or something, maybe I'll wear sandals, but I don't like my feet. The sandals will do that.
I find that. Yeah,
or like when we get cold, I don't like that.
Yeah.
They're hard to walk in for like a long time.
Absolutely. How So it's basically going barefoot in grass, dirt, sand.
Yeah, I had a friend who did that.
Okay. Have you ever tried it before ever?
Not on purpose.
No.
I mean, like when you do, not outside. I would say that no.
Yeah.
Other than like a beach or something, no.
Got it. So let me ask you this: when you are barefoot, let's say at a beach, or maybe if you're at the park, you had a blanket out or something like that. Do you notice a difference?
I would on a blanket.
Now, you say that because like there's been a couple of women I've interviewed, and they're like, even at the park, they won't take their shoes off.
I'll take them off if I'm sitting down.
I'm like, that's shocking to me. I'm like, you have a blanket out, you're like relaxing, you're not. You're gonna sit there with like your shoes on. They're like, yeah, I'm good. I'm like, okay, it's interesting. But like, do you feel a difference though? Like when you like like in shoes to being like just barefoot on grass, dirt. Yeah. All right. Does it feel like more free or like?
Yeah, it's comfortable. Got it. I don't like stepping on stuff that hurt my feet though. So.
Unless you're some of those people who like do like when they do barefoot, which I did interview a woman who like was like her feet get like super like it's a different texture to it because of that like that she has absolutely and then you get ballerinas who like they grow calluses and they don't get pedicures because of that because, like to make sure they have the grip and everything so
I used to dance so it is helpful I guess to deterrent
absolutely all right so now can we see what your feet look like?
Sure.
Cool. Let me get you to. You can come over here actually, and then we'll take a look real quick.
Luckily, I didn't wear socks.
Luckily,
so
I didn't.
It'd be a lot easier.
All right.
To do.
And let me get you to just sit down there on the end, and then if you could take them off, and then just just put them up here.
This is weird.
All right. This is weird. She said. What size do you wear?
8.5, 9.
8.5, 9. Does it vary depending on the type of shoe? Like if it's a tennis shoe or something like that? All right, let me get you to extend out. Let's see the bottoms. All right. All right, cool. So how are you feeling? We're going through this. We got some questions. We're taking a look at your feet now. You did say weird. It's weird. Why is it weird?
Because
leave your feet. We're going to go through a couple more exercises. Why is it weird?
I don't have my feet examined. And I don't know you. And I don't know the reason behind this.
All right. So let me give you some background right on my channel, right? So I decided to start my channel back during quarantine. I was listening to another guy on his channel, right? And he was talking about this mental health term that deals with like people living in the moment, right? Okay. And in the past, I haven't been somebody who like lived in the moment. I would like overthink situations, whether it was like approaching a pretty girl to like ask her out, or whether it was like whether I should go to the movies or not go to the movies. I would like think about every scenario, and usually most of those scenarios are things that are not going to happen, right? So therapists prescribe for people who like deal with that, and, like it leads to depression, anxiety. They want you to go out and like put yourself in that situation, right? Okay. To like overcome those emotions and stuff that you feel during those moments, right? And like, when you're in that moment, you start to feel like any type of like anxious feelings or anything like that. Stop, do a self-assessment, ask yourself like, what's really happening? Is there anything threatening my life or my safety? And if you can't find anything like that, just do the opposite of that, right? So I was like, that's pretty dope. I wanted to go out and like start doing that approaching because guess what? In the past, I haven't dealt well with rejection, right? If I go up and I approach somebody and they're like, no, or whatever like that, so going on doing this, I can get no, man, maybe like 50 times before I get a yes, right? So like being able to overcome like those emotions that you feel in that moment to where it doesn't bother you as much. So I wanted to tie that together with my interviews, talk about feet because it's an uncomfortable topic for some people. Like they tend to feel uncomfortable, they feel like weirded out by it. So to see like when I'm interviewing a woman, can she be comfortable with it? Can we go through the process without her feeling like any type of uncomfortability, anything like that? Because there are guys out there who are into that, right? Maybe attracted to that, and they may not want to like express that to somebody because they're afraid that they may get judged or like they're going to be like talked about or anything like that. So to kind of show those ranges of reactions I get from different women about that, how they feel, so that guys can have more confidence in that. So I'm trying to normalize the conversation around feet, which is why I'm doing this. So what are your thoughts about that? How do you feel about that?
I think it's interesting. Okay. I think it's helpful to do. Yeah. I mean, I think it can be a topic about anything, but because it's about feet.
Yeah. Some people are going to feel weird about it.
Yeah. I think it's just also like just the connotation that feet are nasty. Yeah. So people don't want to talk about it or think it's weird to put in like on
TV or
on
camera
YouTube
or something.
yeah. So like that's why I wanted to kind of do it to like kind of get people out of that mindset, because like it shouldn't be something that's where it's like a part of the body like anything else, right? Hands are like some of the dirtiest things that we have. We touch things and all this other stuff. During COVID, they had to tell people to wash their hands because a lot of people don't do it. So it's like there are other things too that are just like that, but they don't get talked about like that because people see them as more normal. So that's why I'm trying to normalize the conversation through these interactions. All right. Let's talk about reflexology. Okay. Reflexology is about the different pressure points, right, that you have in your hands and your feet. And those pressure points correlate to different parts of your body, right? So like through massage, through acupuncture, through acupressure, you can alleviate like stress and tension in like various parts of your body, right? And they call those areas zones, right? They're all mapped out. And let's say, for example, you had trouble with migraines. There's a portion of your foot and your hands you can massage that like alleviate the tension from those migraines. What are your thoughts about that? Because you said you kind of know about it, like you're familiar with it. What are your thoughts?
I think not a lot of people know it.
Yeah, no, not a lot of people know it.
And that people don't take care, or like the reason on why you take care of your feet, because I do roll my feet, or I'll do hand massages for myself.
Do you do it with like a golf ball or tennis ball?
I have a tennis ball, and I have some other ball. It's a lot harder. But yeah, I do foam roll and stuff for even my body, so I understand the benefits of relieving that tension. It's a lot harder for me to do it on my feet though. The work that I do, I'm constantly walking, so it's just very much. I love when I have to take off my shoes because it's just like a really.
So you're enjoying this right now, even though it's kind of a little bit.
Well, when I'm at work, because like my feet don't hurt right now.
Yeah.
Because these are very comfortable. Yeah. But yeah.
Okay. All right. So with that being said, right, how ticklish do you tend to be?
I'm very ticklish.
All right. Would you mind if we test it? No. What's your reason? Is it because like you're like too ticklish? Is that what it is?
Kinda.
Because I have a trick to that. There's a trick for it, right? Can we test it?
Or somewhere
else?
Your feet.
Yeah.
Oh god.
Can we test it? Just
what
to like.
What do you like a press?
Just tickle them real quick. Is that fine?
Oh my god. For the sake of the interview.
All right, let me get you to stick your feet out. All right. Actually, can you put them up here? Is that okay? Let me get you to put them up this way. Yeah. All right. I'm gonna start with the right one, okay? And then I'm gonna go with the left one. We're gonna start from bottom to top. Tell me where it's most sensitive at, okay, and which foot is most sensitive, okay? All right. Ready?
No.
You're not ready? Nope, I'm not ready. You ready? All right. 1, 2, 3. All right. And where do you feel it at most? Is it like in the middle? Is it in the middle, or was it towards the top?
Both actually.
So the middle and the top.
At the top.
Right here.
Yes.
Okay. Let's see the left. Tell me if this one is more. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Is this one more or less?
I think I'm.
Is this one less or more?
No.
Okay. Put the other one back, and now here's the trick. Okay. I want you to wiggle your toes. Tell me if you feel it more or less.
I still feel it.
You feel it more? Is it more or less though? Wiggle.
It's the same.
It's the same?
That
all right.
like more in the middle now.
All right, let's try the left. Wiggle here. And it's
that
still.
That one feels more scratchy.
That one feels more scratchy. So is it like less sensitive when you're doing that, or is it more?
I guess less.
It's supposed to be less. Now, you may be one of those. All right, put your feet back up here. I'm going to get you to do a couple exercises real quick. Put your feet back. All right. And this is to test the flexibility and stuff, okay? Let me get you to bend your toes, make a fist. Tell me if you feel pain or discomfort while you're doing that. I'll bend to both. Like, any pain or discomfort while you're doing that? Or is it easy to do, hard to do?
It's fine right now.
Fine? Okay, relax. All right. Spread your toes. Tell me if you feel pain or discomfort. Spread. Pain, discomfort, easy to do, hard to do? Fine. Relax. Wiggle your toes for about 10 seconds. Tell me if you feel any cramping, pain, discomfort. Easy? Okay. Relax. So, and I usually give the advice because a lot of people can't do those movements, right? Doing this or doing that. So I usually tell people to do that because like that what you talk about with the tennis ball or a golf ball is even better so that it will like create some flexibility, dexterity for you. So absolutely. So let's wrap up the interview now. In terms of my approach, coming up to you, asking you to do the interview, was it good? Was it bad? What were your thoughts about my approach?
The approach was fine.
Okay.
I was just already, I saw you already walking.
You saw me already walking? You like, oh, so he's got to come ask me something.
Yeah.
All right. In terms of the interview, right, start to finish, did you see how everything was going in the line? Did it make sense to you? Did you learn anything new from the information? Or maybe some more expanded on the information?
I guess expanded.
Okay.
I mean, I like the approach, and I understand what you were getting at with the mental health, and then relating it to how we talked about the feet.
The entire thing, yeah, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I knew stuff, but it's a lot easier to talk to when you talk about other people than just having it in your mind yourself. Yeah.
All right. The last thing I'll ask,
Okay.
from a mental health standpoint, maybe a life lesson you learned, some wise words somebody once said to you, maybe lyrics you heard in a song that you could share on my channel that could be helpful to you.
The first thing that came to my mind is, I wish I could remember the quote. I think it's on my, no, it's in the car. I wrote it down. It was basically stop thinking, I wish I could quote it correctly. But it was like, basically stop thinking with your own thoughts and remember the truth of what God has told you. So it's like, don't ignore what you should know and believe, and stop believing the things that you think.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I like that. Well, thank you so much. Definitely appreciate you stopping and doing the interview with us. I know that it wasn't maybe the most comfortable, but thank you for going through with it.
No problem.
All right. And we hope that you have a great one. Okay.
All right. Thank you.
All right. So hi, how are you doing today?
I'm great. How
All right.
are
All
you?
right. How do we just meet right now? How do we run into each other?
I was leaving in and out, and you just bumped into me saying,
Yeah, they go in and out over there, way in the background over there. Yeah.
can I interview you, girl? And I was like, yeah, sure.
Absolutely. You're like, yeah, sure. What's it about? Like, yeah. So what did I tell you it was about? What are we doing today?
Feet and reflexology.
Okay, and then one other one you do. Mental health.
Oh, mental health. Perfect.
Absolutely,
okay.
absolutely.
Very important.
So, first of all, when you hear the subject feet, when you hear that word, what do you think about?
Honestly, feet are a special spot for me. Very important.
Oh, a special spot
Yes,
for you. Okay.
special spot.
Why is that? Reason?
It feels really good. If you get a massage and you're attentive to your feet, you get your feet done, and you just feel better.
Absolutely. So taking care of them, self-care.
Yes.
All those different things like that. All right. What do we have here?
Some trash.
Floating in.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway. So today we're gonna ask you some questions about feet, and you can just feel free to answer however you like, whatever your thoughts are. Okay. What about mental health? Anything that you think about? Anything, subjects, or anything?
Mental health is very important. I am keen on mental health. If I can't operate successfully if my mental health is off, if it's not aligned, if I don't feel balanced.
Nice.
So I prioritize my mental health.
Nice. Okay. So we're gonna ask some questions about social media, the impact sometimes it can have on depression, anxiety, and there will even be some questions in there about just your personal experiences with mental health. Nothing too invasive or anything like that, but just more surface level things.
Okay.
All right. And lastly, what about reflexology? You ever heard of that before?
Yes, I think it's regarding the feet. It's is it acupuncture in the feet?
Yeah. So acupuncture is actually a part of it. There's some other things you can do too that relate to reflexology. We'll give you some information today. Just tell me what your thoughts are. Okay.
Okay.
Cool. First question. What are your thoughts about how the world's starting to become more aware of mental health and what we're doing about it? How do you feel about that?
I embrace it. I'm very happy. I'm very happy that they are finally looking into it and connecting the dots. This actually affects people and what they're doing.
Exactly. I mean, for so long, I think that it was one of those things where, and I don't know if it's the same for you, but in a lot of colored households, Hispanic, blacks, even some Asian, that's not really talked about as much. And it's sometimes because of a lack of resources. We come from backgrounds where we don't have money to pay for that, so we don't know how to deal with it. And a lot of times we write it off as, oh, you're being lazy or you don't want to do something, and it's I'm dealing with some things here, and it's almost crippling sometimes. So always interesting to see I guess the contrast of how times are changing.
Yeah, it's super interesting.
Yeah.
It's very, because a lot of people just turn it down oh, you feel anxious. Anxiety was a big thumbs down.
Yeah.
It's no, I feel anxious. My anxiety is, like you said, crippling. I can't function in the real world because I'm thinking about so much stuff.
Absolutely. So in terms of anything about you, right? Is there anything about you that some people might see as being weird things you may do, maybe a hobby you have, maybe the way you eat your food, anything like that?
I eat my grits with a fork.
Okay.
But I don't know.
I think there's some people who do that.
Some people, okay. I get looked. People are like, "What are you doing?" But as far as drinking my water every day, there was this water bottle I used to carry, and one of my friends, they noticed it. Why are you drinking water? It was a problem that I had with water supposed to drink water.
I'm getting questioned about drinking water.
Yeah, I was like, you have to drink this water.
Yeah.
And because of that, she started to carry a water bottle.
There it is. So you were able to like help somebody else out with that. That's nice.
I'm like, you have to stay hydrated. I don't drink any soda, juice. So water is my girl.
I like that. In terms of social media, right? First of all, what are your thoughts about it, and then how do you use it yourself?
So personally, I don't have any social media.
Okay.
No social media at all. But I do think it's very, very imperative for businesses.
Yeah.
Especially during the pandemic. That's how a lot of startups and small businesses gained a lot of their audiences.
Variety and stuff. Yeah, absolutely.
Definitely a variety. Yes. And it's kind of keeping people in the loop. I know I met an older gentleman. He said he gave me some information, but he said he got it from TikTok.
Yeah, a lot of people. My girlfriend's on TikTok all the time. Like,
and you learn so many different hacks and everything. So
there's some positives, right?
Yeah, there's some positives like food, like how to cook different meals. Yeah. So I think you have to just put your focal point on what you want to feed yourself with.
That makes sense. That makes sense. In terms of like yourself, right? Has anybody ever made you feel insecure about your body or a body part before?
Of course. I would be lying if I didn't. You know, but growing up, coming into my body, puberty, you always feel insecure, especially when you see the pictures that are plastered everywhere.
Yeah, you're like, I don't look like what's going on.
So, and that's why I took a step back from social media, because it was taking away from my self-worth personally. And I'm like, no, I need to gain this out, on my own, outside of what other people view as beautiful or whatever.
Or normal, things like that.
So I had to step out of that and to really, I guess, embrace that, like my own self-worth.
That's really good. That's really good. So I would take it that those are no longer things you're dealing with. You like kind of surpass that. You know how to like kind of deal with it. Absolutely. In terms of social media, right? Let's say somebody came to you and said, change whatever you want about it, right? Is there anything that you would change to like make it better or maybe make improvements to it? Well,
each platform is different. Yeah. I can only speak for Twitter because I've never had an Instagram.
Okay.
Twitter, I would want like a close friends group instead of it just being like everybody.
Okay, I can see that.
I would want a close friends group in my Twitter.
So yeah, being able to like just pick these people, like these are the people I want to. I like that. Okay.
Yes.
That's actually pretty dope. In terms of yourself, right? Is there anything about yourself that you would change, right? If somebody gave you the power to change something about yourself, would there be anything you would change?
I think I want to be taller.
Okay. Sorry. It's always funny to always get that from women. It's like either taller or shorter, and I'm like, okay. You're about what, 5'3", 5'4"?
You're right. Yep, 5'3".
Okay, so yeah, you would want to be what, maybe like 5'6", 5'7"?
Yeah, like 5'6".
Not too much,
yeah,
right?
Not too much.
Just a couple inches.
Taller.
Yeah. Because I'm always like when I meet women who are like, I don't know, like 5'7", 5'8", and they're like, I want to be taller. I was like that's kind of like right in that sweet spot. It's like really good. It's really good height to be. I feel like I can understand if you're like 6 feet and you're like, I want to be shorter, because I think a lot of times like when you run into guys, right? It's like it's kind of hard to find those guys that are as tall as you, especially if that's something that you look at. So yeah.
Oh yeah, true. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with the genetic pool with the men now. I don't know. But yeah, I wouldn't be taller just for the concerts. I want to see over people.
I love that. Nice. All right. In terms of anxiety, right? What are some things that bring you anxiety? You don't have to go too in depth. Just maybe more surface level. Is there anything that does that for you?
Myself.
Okay.
I bring myself anxiety.
So you created
I created myself, and that's when I have to like really speak my thoughts out loud. Like, get out of your head right now. Go and just do it, because you're just thinking in a ball right now.
I like that. So you tend to be somebody who's an overthinker. Yeah, that was me as well.
Yes.
So what do you do? Like you said, you kind of like talk to yourself. Is there anything else you do, like coping mechanisms or things you do to like avoid that?
I write my thoughts down, and then if it's not something that I want to keep, I rip it up. I meditate.
Okay. That's a big one.
I cook. Cooking helps.
Nice. Yeah, I think cooking is a big thing in terms of releasing like a lot of just like feelings and stuff. You focus more on like what you're doing as opposed to like anything else going on around you, right? That's great. All right, so let's get into these questions now. I'm being intrigued to see how you feel. What are your thoughts about your feet? How do you feel about it?
I love my feet.
Okay, so you love your feet.
Sometimes they're ashy, but I love my feet.
Sometimes they're ashy, but other than that, I love them.
Yeah.
And so in terms of your feet, have you ever received compliments before? Anybody ever said, hey, you have nice feet?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
When you get a compliment about that, how does it make you feel?
Happy, I guess.
Really?
Happy, because I know a lot of, A lot of people get talked about their toes, having like the night crawlers.
Yeah, I mean, I remember seeing Boomerang when I was like younger, and I just remember seeing like the part where they talk about hammer time and shoes.
Oh,
right?
my God!
And it's always like, I think it's like always like, oh, okay, that's always a thought, but like, yeah, I think that's definitely dope.
Yeah.
You definitely don't want to be somebody who's like, damn, I have bad feet. So yeah, that's good. No. In terms of compliments, right? Like if they come from men or women, do you feel differently about it? Like, so let's say a man gave you that compliment, like, hey, you have nice feet. Do you feel differently as if a woman said that to you?
I would only feel differently if there's like an attraction factor in there. So if I'm attracted to the male,
further is said.
Yeah, if something further is said, then I would differentiate the two. But other than that, I take it the same.
Okay, that's understandable. In terms of compliments in general, right? Mm-hmm. Is there a compliment you like rather get over another one? Like you're like, if somebody gives me that compliment, it makes me feel better.
I think
and not just physically, we're talking about in general.
Yeah, I was gonna go work ethic wise.
Okay.
Honestly, when people comment on my appearance or my looks,
it
kind of discourages me a little bit.
Okay.
Because it's like, okay.
Is it like bring attention to it for you?
It brings attention to it, and I try a lot to take the attention off of my appearance. I don't want to be looked at solely for my appearance. I want to be recognized for my work ethic, the hard work that I put in.
Personality.
Yeah, my personality, to understand why I'm in the position that I am. It's not, and hey, maybe it is possibly my looks too, but not solely just that.
Not just that.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. In terms of like if you were dating someone or starting to date someone, right? Mm-hmm. What is something you would consider to be a potential deal breaker? Something where you're like, I can't deal with that. That's not something I'm willing to do.
Immaturity, gaslighting,
nice.
And a lack of communication.
Okay. Those are good. It's always when I get to that portion, I always get women like, "How long do you have?" Like, I got a list. I got a list. What do you want?
No, I summed it up right there.
I love that. Those are 3 things. You're like, boom, here they are. Nice. In terms of pedicures, how often do you get them?
I feel bad saying this, but I've been slacking on my pedicures. Okay. This is my first pedicure in about like 4 months.
Whoa. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, is that more because of like maybe the type of work you do, or is it more because like you just stay busy and you don't have time?
I guess I look at pedicures as a reward. So I've been a little hard on myself lately, and I don't feel like I need that reward. But someone brought it to my attention, like, if you don't just go,
that's dope.
Overthinking it again.
And it's a good thing that person did do that today, because then you ran into me.
I know,
and
right?
Here we go.
Right.
There we go.
So I'm very happy how today is going.
Yeah, I always meet people like in this type of way, right? It's like somebody will be like, I wasn't even planning to come here today. And then, like, I came here and then here we go.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
No, the universe is always in my favor. I know it is. So I just go with the flow.
I love it. In terms of pedicures, right, have you ever heard of a medical one?
Medical pedicure? No.
So that's when you go see a podiatrist, right? Specialist of the foot. They take a look at your feet. They make sure like your nails grow correctly. They check your toe alignment to make sure it's right. And they check
I didn't know that existed.
Dead skin, fungus, They do all the work with medical grade equipment, right? So it's like much different than going to get cosmetic ones where it's like you never know, like, do they really keep their stuff clean, or unless you see it, right? Yeah. But here it's like medical grade, so you know everything is clean. What would your thoughts be on maybe seeing somebody like that who could give you like more insight into your feet, like kind of how you said like my feet are sometimes ashy, they could like kind of tell you like proper types of lotion, like upkeep and things like that. What would your thoughts be?
I'm willing to try anything once.
Nice.
Yeah, it's like I'm very open-minded.
There it is. So, in terms of like wearing shoes, how often do you wear like open toe shoes, sandals, flip flops?
I prefer sandals like over any type of shoe.
Okay.
So I wear open toe shoes a lot.
Okay.
A lot, yeah. A lot.
So we say like we're putting a percentage on it, like 70, 80%.
80% of the time.
Yeah. Okay. Nice. How do you go barefoot? No shoes.
You said how do I feel or how much?
How often? Yeah.
If I'm in the house, I'm like 25%. Okay. But if you ask, like honestly, if I could be barefoot out right now, I would.
Okay, and that's what I was gonna ask. So you ever heard of earthing and grounding before?
Yes, I've heard earthing and grounding. So
when you
meditate,
cousins
do that.
When you meditate, is that what you do?
Yes.
Nice.
Yes,
nice.
Earthing, like picking up pieces of the earth, and yes, wow, my cousins do that. Oh
nice.
My God.
What is the difference that you feel like right in those moments, like from wearing shoes to going to doing that, and like kind of like just putting yourself in a meditative like state?
I just feel like I'm way more connected.
Nice.
Way more connected.
That's dope, man.
Yeah,
that's dope.
way more.
I always love to hear that when I meet people who are like, they do that and they feel the difference. I have had some people like, I feel no difference, and I'm like, really? I'm like,
no, I feel the difference.
I think it's a difference.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I even have my bed closer to the ground.
That's
I don't have
dope.
a high bed.
That's dope.
I have a low one.
So I'm close to it. I can get to it
Yeah,
right away.
yeah.
Nice. All right. So now, can we see what your feet look like?
Oh my gosh. Okay, sure.
Okay. Cool. All right. And so, did you just get them done?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm happy I can show. They're not
And
really ashy.
What's the color we got here?
It's like a ballet pink.
Ballet pink.
601.
Okay. 601. She gave me the number and everything. All right. And so, I would say your feet tend to be on more of the slender side.
Yeah, I have
like,
rabbit
find
feet.
that to be correct?
Yeah.
And then it looks like is your second toe
Longer, yeah.
You know what that's called?
No, but I know it means something.
So everybody has like different toe alignments, and based on that, it's called something different. So your toe alignment is called the Grecian toe alignment. It's like a Greek toe. All right?
Oh,
so
wait.
yeah, you may have some Greek leaning in there somewhere. If your bigger toe is bigger, it would be Egyptian. That's the Egyptian toe alignment.
Oh wow.
So, yeah, that's when it just kind of goes in like a straight curve.
So I'm white. I have white features. No.
All right, cool. So can we get you to take the sandals off now? And
Sure.
then all right, cool. All right, and we got a little tat here on the side.
The
What is
best
that?
way to prepare for life is to begin to live.
I love that. All right, let me get you to put them out straight like this so we can see the bottoms. All right, so how are you feeling? We met like maybe about 15 minutes ago.
Yes.
Thoughts, comfortability, how you feeling?
I'm relaxed. Like the grass. This is my stomping ground.
She's
grass.
like, this is my natural.
That's what's like. We should get a blanket. So I can
just
sit.
chill, man.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna eat my burger here.
Nice. So I'm gonna give you some feedback on and just leave your feet up. We're gonna go through a couple more exercises, but I'm gonna talk to you a little bit about like why I got started in this channel.
Okay.
Like what?
Yeah, I'm very curious.
Because I know you're probably like, what is this going on, right?
I'm super curious.
So in terms of like during quarantine, I was watching another guy's channel, and he was talking about basically getting out of your comfort zone, right? Exposure therapy. You ever heard of that before?
No.
Okay.
But I have an idea what it is. Yeah.
So exposure therapy is for people who like tend to overthink situations. People who tend to like stay in a comfort zone. They're like, I'm comfortable with this, so I'm not going any further, right? And so what therapists try to get people like that to do, let's say, for example, you had a fear of approaching strangers, right? You're like, man, I'm never going to talk to anybody that's a stranger. Never. They would tell you, go out and do that, right? Do it over and over again. They want you to get used to how the feeling feels, right? It's uncomfortable, right? But in those moments, they want you to basically do a check with yourself and ask yourself, okay, is anything happening to me? Anything like threatening my life? Anything threatening my safety? And if not, a lot of those things that you create in your mind are just like things that are trying to prevent you from like experiencing life, right?
Okay.
So basically I heard about that and I was like, that's always been me. Like I've always been like, dude, like in this situation right here, do I want to do this? Like whether it was like approaching a girl, right? And I'm like,
I don't know.
She might say no.
Yeah.
Like this guy, she might freak out. Like I don't know. And so it's like, I'm not going to do it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
And so, and our, to me, rejection was like something where it was like, I would get that and I was like, I'd be in a depressed state. Like, because I'm like wondering to myself, well, what did I do wrong? Did I do something? And it's like, not realizing that the other person also has control in that situation to where you have to learn to be like, if they say no, that's, their prerogative. Exactly. It's not personal. So I'm like, okay, let me go out and do this. Let me go and like attach feet to it because a lot of people feel like uncomfortable about that topic.
Yeah.
A lot of people are like, it's weird. They have taboos like around it and everything. And I want to do that and talk to women to see how they feel about the subject, see if they can be comfortable in the situation. Like we're having a discussion. Channel is called Soleful Discussions. Like
Love it.
not the traditional way, but as in the sole of the foot, right? Double entendre. So basically just to see like what would happen, right? And I get different reactions. I get different women who are like, some women are like completely open, some women are like in between, and I get some women who are like absolutely not, don't even.
Really?
I get that.
Wow.
And but the whole point of that is there are people out there who like it. I'm like an admirer of feet, right? Like not fetish, but admirer.
Okay. All right.
And there are other people out there who are like the same way, right? And they may want to express that to other people, right? But not know how to do it because they feel like, well, somebody's gonna look at me as being weird, or somebody's gonna look at me as being like, not like everybody else.
Yeah.
And like they're gonna kind of look down on me. So a lot of people might not feel comfortable saying that to others. So the whole point of my channel is trying to normalize like all these things, like you said. But you kind of like gave me that reaction, right? Oh, some people like are like they don't, and it's like, yeah, I get that. Some people just are not interested in it whatsoever, or whatever. And that's cool. That's their prerogative, or whatever like that. But trying to normalize the conversation around it, just my interactions. What are your thoughts about that?
I'm all for it.
Nice.
I'm for it because I know people are like anti-feet sometimes.
Yeah, people are like anti-everything. I always ask this, right? So when I hear people who say like, that's weird or whatever like that, like if somebody like said that's weird, I'm like, okay. I'm like, well, if somebody likes, you know, breasts or butts, like, first of all, is that a fetish or is that something weird? And they're like, well, no, that's more normal. And I'm like, but you're still like pointing out.
Yeah.
So what's the difference, right? But
closed-mindedness.
Yeah.
People make comments like that weird, and it rubs me the wrong way.
Yeah.
You kind of just gave yourself up already that you're closed-minded.
Exactly.
The type of person I am, I'm gonna poke the bear. And I'm gonna do more weird shit.
I love it.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, you weirded out by that?
Yeah.
Let me show you some other stuff.
Let me show you this now.
I love it. So that's why my whole channel came together, and like right now I'm at like 11,000 subscribers. I go out and do this like over and over again, and just seeing like the type of reactions I get and stuff like that.
That's really cool.
Absolutely.
Okay, I can't wait to see the end game of this.
Absolutely, you'll definitely get a chance to see some of it. Absolutely. So let's talk about reflexology real quick, and then we'll let you get up out of here. Reflexology is all about the different pressure points you have in your hands and in your feet, right? And those pressure points actually like connect to different parts of your body, right? So,
do you know what this one is?
Yeah, so that's actually connected to the head.
So when I'm getting massages, that's my spot. That's what I'm missing. That's what I'm saying.
That's all within your head. So like for people who have like migraines and they deal with that, that's the portion of the foot that you massage to alleviate that tension.
Wow, that's why I feel so.
There you go.
Wow,
yeah.
have answers. Thank you.
There it is. So yeah, you know, and there's also portions, like I said, there's a portion in your hand. There's also a piercing you can get to like alleviate if you have migraines, alleviates that as well. Yeah. So like it's all kinds of how the body is connected is always like interesting. Right? You have the brain that's like right at the top, and your feet are like the foundation, but like connect to all these other parts and stuff like that. Sometimes you'll find people who like, for example, have a problem with their back, right? And they go get a massage and they do reflexology, and it's like it can alleviate the tension they feel in their back just doing that. So yeah, it's actually pretty interesting.
No, definitely.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay. I'm like, I got
so that's why
you
like, that's my spot right there.
That's my spot.
Yeah.
And people and they get weirded out. I'm like, my spot. Where's your spot? It's on my foot.
There you go. There you go. So let me ask you this, right? In terms of reflexology, every time we get into this, we like to talk about sensitivity, right?
Yeah.
How ticklish do you tend to be?
On my feet?
Yeah.
I'm not actually.
Really?
Only in that spot. Only in that one
right
spot.
There. You're not ticklish anywhere else. So you get
anywhere
pedicures,
else,
you don't feel it.
I feel it, but I don't do like the jumpy.
Oh, okay.
I like embrace it. I'm like, yeah.
Yeah. Keep it going.
Yeah.
Man, yeah, you're wired differently.
Yes.
Give me some more. Like, interesting.
Yeah.
All right. So, would you mind if we test sensitivity to see what the difference is?
Sure.
Can we do that? I actually have a trick, and I always like to do this just to show what the difference is.
Okay,
right?
sure. I want to learn something new about me.
There it is.
Oh,
all right. So I'm gonna start the right kind of flex your toes up like this. Yeah, put them straight. Both. All right. Let's start at the right one. You tell me where it's most sensitive at, where you feel that the most.
Okay.
And then which foot is most sensitive. Okay.
Okay.
Cool. All right. 1, 2, 3. All right. And where do you feel it at the most?
The top. Where
is it
you're
right?
at? Yes.
Right in your spot. Cool. All right.
Wow.
Let's try the left. Tell me if this one is worse and like where it's at the most. It might be in that same spot you're talking. 1, 2, 3. Same.
Yeah. It's more.
This one is more.
Yeah.
What's the difference? Because what's the level on this one? 1 out of 10.
Can you do it again? Sorry, I don't. It's more like a 6.
A 6.
This is like 7, 8.
This one's a 7 or 8. And
yeah.
You actually have it right there in the bottom too. Because like right when I started, you started moving right there. All right, here's my trick. All right.
Okay.
I want you to wiggle your toes. Wiggle here. Do you feel that less?
Yes.
Do you know why?
No.
So first of all, your mind's thinking about actively doing something, right?
Mm-hmm.
Secondly, your muscles are moving. So like it can't pick up on that sensation. So that's always my trick to people. Like if you're feeling really ticklish, do that. Let's try here. You said this one was a lot worse. So let's try here. Let's see. Is it less or more?
It's less. Wow, that's interesting.
There's my trick. There it is.
So I have to move.
Movement is important. So now we're gonna get you to do a couple exercises, and this is the test like dexterity, flexibility, and your feet. Okay.
Okay.
I want you to first bend your toes, make a fist. Tell me if you feel pain or discomfort while you're doing it.
No.
No cramping, nothing. Okay. Relax. Spread your toes. Tell me if you feel pain or discomfort.
Can't spread my
That's
toes.
a little bit hard.
Okay, yeah, okay.
I have a trick for you to do so that you can like kind of loosen your feet up.
Kinda...
You're like, this one kind of goes with nothing
Yeah.
else. All right. Let me get you now to just wiggle your toes for about 10 seconds. You tell me if you feel pain, discomfort, cramping.
Both of them
like
or
that.
just one?
Both.
Oh.
Anything?
No.
No? All right, cool. So, here's a trick for you. It's kind of like get you more flexibility and stuff.
Okay.
Take a tennis ball or golf ball, right? In the mornings, like roll your foot across it. It'll loosen up like the tendons and all that other stuff on your feet. Also, just practicing those movements, right? So if you start to spread and you start to do those things, it'll loosen up all that stuff. And like, it's almost like going to the gym, right? You work out, you like lift weights, you do this certain type of workout. Eventually, like it becomes easier for you to do. Same thing with your feet.
How will this affect my overall health?
Well, because so flexibility, like in your feet, helps you out like with injuries and things like that. The more stiff your feet are, like they can tend to like get injuries easier. Yeah.
Okay.
So it'll help you out there. Cool. So let's wrap up the interview now.
Thank you so much.
All right.
It was a pleasure.
In terms of my approach,
yes.
coming up to you, do you think it was good? Was it bad? What were your thoughts about my approach?
Very straightforward. It was just like, hey, do you mind? It was genuine. I didn't get like creep vibes from you. So yeah, it was just
appreciate that.
Yeah, I didn't. So it was just like, sure.
Okay, nice.
I'm very open-minded, so
appreciate
maybe
that.
Maybe it's just it's me.
In terms of the interview from start to finish, did you see how everything was going in the line? Did it make sense? Did you learn anything new?
Yes, I did.
Learned a couple things.
I learned a couple things. Yes.
Yeah, medical pedicures, right? Going out and like
if I keep moving,
movements and things like that. You also learned about like exposure therapy. That's a big one. Cool. So last thing I'll ask, from a mental health standpoint, a life lesson that you've learned. Wise words that maybe somebody like actually shared with you once that you could share with my channel that could be helpful? It could be anything too. It could be like words you heard in a song. You like, to me that was like super dope.
So what other people think of you is not your business.
Okay.
It's not. Don't take it personal. And just always be yourself.
I like that. I like that.
Yeah,
you gotta be true to yourself no matter what. If you don't, you'll find that you're doing things that other people want you to do, and it won't work out at the day.
No, at all.
It's really dope. Well, thank you so much. Definitely appreciate you stopping to do this interview with us.
No
all right.
problem.
And we hope that you have a great one. Okay.
Thank you.
All right.